It's our second London derby at the London Stadium in the space of 5 days. Big game, this feels now. Real big one, and considering the fact that we've got that win over Fulham, which feels like it's really, not, I won't say lifted the mood, because I thought the mood was really lifted ahead of the game. But I just feel like it's breathed a little bit of belief into the season and given everyone that kind of feeling of we can start to look up a little bit at the table now. And it's such a relief, isn't it? What a nice feeling it is at the moment to be around West Ham. It's such an incredible shift from where we were. I'm not here to keep slagging off Lopetegui, and I don't want to keep doing that. I feel like people are going to keep saying I'm being really harsh on him, but it can't be any denying that the impact of Graham Potter. I'll come to it again in a minute, but it's quite remarkable, actually. It's been fantastic. So it's a big game, this one. But against the Crystal Palace side that are in good form now. They seem to have turned their sort of season around a little bit. A bit like West Ham, really. I feel like their tails are up now. They're starting to look up the table again. So this has kind of got the feeling of actually it's going to be quite a tough game for West Ham. I think it's going to be a very interesting affair. Both teams in a sort of similar vein at the moment. So I want to, as I usually do, talk about Crystal Palace first. But before I do, I just want to say if you're new to the channel and you're not a subscriber yet, do subscribe. Really, honestly, we really appreciate it. And of course, even people that aren't subscribers yet but regularly view the channel, if you can subscribe, it really appreciate it. It takes 2 seconds to do so. It's free as well, and of course, hit that like button. Yeah, so Crystal Palace, it's been a strange season for them, considering how well they finished off last season under Glasner. He came in, didn't he, and just seemed to grab hold of that team and shifted the way they were playing so quickly. And the players responded, the fans responded to it, and they were just on this incredible run. I was expecting big things from this season. It's one of those clubs, Palace, where it must be very frustrating for them as fans at times, because they never really seem to have that push, do they, to the European places and to get involved amongst that. They never have those seasons where you go, wow, they're having an amazing season. They always seem to be mid-table, mid to bottom, around that area. That seems to be where they belong in the Premier League. And I can understand there must be a little bit of frustration with the fans, because they want to see a little bit more and just have that little bit of ambition to push on a little bit further. And I think the appointment of Glasner has done that. I feel like it's, they got rid of Hodgson, who was absolutely the right time to do so. He was there to do one thing, wasn't he, really, to keep Palace up. And I feel like the fans have become a little bit bored of that being the remit every season, just stay up. I think they want to see a little bit more ambition than that. And I feel like Glasner's given them that. But the interesting part is, and the quite disappointing thing for Crystal Palace, of course, was the start of the season. They just look so bad, and they really struggled to get going. But I think there's a few factors at play. Michael Olise, I think the loss of him to Bayern Munich in the summer was a big loss for the club. He's such an instrumental player. We know too well, scored enough goals against us and caused us so many problems. So I can totally understand why they've struggled. But it does feel like now they possibly are just overcoming that period now of getting the squad a little bit more balanced and to settle things down. And they look good now. They're actually looking a lot better. Obviously, they got a big result, didn't they, over Leicester in the week, 2-0 away win, which is no doubt going to lift their spirits and their confidence levels going into playing West Ham. As I've said in the earlier bit, I feel like this has got the hallmarks of a very tough game for both teams. I feel like they know they're coming into play a West Ham team. They've got a new coach and the mood's up. We've just come up a win ourselves, and no doubt we will be desperate to get another 3 points. And we'll see this as a great opportunity to do so. But they will feel the same. Their away record is outstanding. So they're on a very good run at the moment away from home. So I'm expecting a tough game actually against Palace. I think they've done well. I mean, 2 points behind us now in the league. They're 15th in the table on 24 points. They'll obviously a win at London Stadium will leapfrog West Ham, so that gives them another incentive. And I like Glasner actually. I'm glad that Palace have stuck by him. I feel like that's the right decision. I cannot see that changing at all for the rest of the season. I think they'd be crazy, and I'm not seeing any noise that they'd want to get rid of him anyway. And rightly so. So I'd like, as an outsider looking into Crystal Palace, you're looking at their fan base. You can imagine that they will be really hoping that this is the guy that's going to sort of just take them to that next step. Get away from being a team that's just fighting relegation and just lingering around sort of 15th, 14th every season, just to try and kick on a little bit, get into that top half and start fighting. But Premier League is tough. There's so many teams now that are vying for those European spots, etc. It's not easy. But I feel like with Palace, you've got a club there that's has the potential to be doing that in the next season or two. I think if they can get their recruitment right and really back Glasner, I think that they can do that. I've got to be honest. I saw the news in the week with Chalobah, obviously Chelsea recalling him on loan, and what a kick in the teeth that is for Palace. I mean, and really poor from Chelsea. And that Chalobah's had no opportunity as he hit Chelsea. He's been absolutely sort of a forgotten man, and not really didn't feel much love, I think, from Chelsea over the summer when he was obviously linked with a move away. He didn't feel like they were desperate to keep him. So it's a real shame for Crystal Palace and the player and everyone involved. I actually do really feel for him, but a boost for West Ham, no doubt, though. Losing a sort of a defender for them this season, who's actually played, I thought has been quite impressive for them overall. Before I also going to talk about the striker, Mark Gay. I mean, he's one of those players as well, isn't he? That he's been linked with a move. He was very, very close. It appeared to be going to Newcastle. That didn't happen, and now you're hearing reports of Chelsea coming back in for him, and they want to bring him out. And that's not helping them either. But you know, as I say, their form's not reflecting that. You're not watching Palace and thinking, yeah, this is a team that's struggling to deal with all these talks and stuff. They seem to be quite a settled side now. So they've certainly had their fair share of issues to deal with, but I think they're looking pretty solid, Palace. But again, it does feel like it's going to be a pretty much same old in terms of where they're probably likely to finish this season. In my opinion, I think they're going to be sort of around where they are now. I imagine that's where they're going to be hanging around for most of the season, unless of course they can go on and continue a good run towards the end of the season. That might change, but I just don't see that at the moment. I feel like there's a few teams ahead of them, much like West Ham as well. We're in a similar vein, aren't we, where there's a few teams ahead that are just, I think, are better at the moment. It's going to be difficult to catch them up. Mateta, I want to touch on him. Been a great player for them, great striker, and impressive his goal scoring record for Palace. I feel like he's been a big. It makes a big difference to that club. It makes it, having a player that can score goals. It really does make all the difference when it comes to being successful and kicking on, doesn't it? It's so vital, and I feel like he's done well for Palace. So yeah, I don't suspect this is going to be a wonderful season for them. Their fans will probably be a little bit disappointed considering the start, as I say, but I feel like long term, there feels like there's something there at Palace that they can build on. Those sort of foundations are there. So it'd be interesting to see over the next couple of seasons how they progress and whether they are going to kick on and start becoming a team that's going to be really pushing for that top half finish. But it's hard to say. It's always hard to say with Palace. I always feel like it's always one step forward, two step back. They never seem to really kick on. So certainly one to keep an eye on. Let's go on to West Ham. Let's talk about West Ham United. And first of all, got to talk about Graham Potter. I mean, we've had such a depressing period at this football club for quite some time. We had obviously a very crappy end to David Moyes' reign, the last sort of 6 months, especially in the Premier League. We were just so bad. We were taking so many batterings, and it was just depressing. I think we all wanted the season to end. To be fair, I mean, we finished ninth. It wasn't too bad in the end in terms of where we actually ended up, but it wasn't the greatest of seasons. We took, some of the performances were so flat. And it just sucked the life out of you, in terms of the ambition and the dreaming just seemed to be sapped away. And then we had that summer of, right, we're going to bring in a new head coach, we're going to bring in new players, and we're going to kick on. And it was all going to be this new model of Steidten and Lopetegui. And there was that little bit of belief that maybe this is going to be an exciting season for the club. And it just didn't work, did it? I mean, from day one with Lopetegui, it just never felt right. That pre-season was just it just set the tone for me. That pre-season, we took a battering off Spurs and a battering off Wolves, and it was crap. You know what I mean? It was just and that sort of, it felt like that throughout his whole reign, Lopetegui. So it's been a while that West Ham, although people will always lean back and go, well, hang on, mate, you won a European trophy, and you get that a lot. But people don't forget that season we had won a European trophy. We were crap. We were absolutely crap. We were in a relegation battle all season in the Premier League. It was awful. So it just masked what was going on. Then the next season, we started okay for the first third of the season. Then the last 2/3 of the season, we were dreadful. As I say, we took so many hammerings. It wasn't pleasant at all to witness. And so it's been a long time. And I just feel like Graham Potter has come into this football club, picked up, a squad that are depleted in terms of confidence. There's been so much in-house fighting and issues, and we know the disciplinary issues we've had, and players that have been injured. We're struggling down the league. We're in the bottom end of the table, and fans are annoyed. It was just such a depressing, and it just feels like he has come in and just breathe life into the football club. He's saying all the right things. He comes across so well, so likable. The players clearly are responding well to him already. It's obvious. You only got to look at the players, how they're playing. You can see that they look like the weight of the world's off their shoulders and they're enjoying their football again. And as a fan, I'm certainly sharing that. You know, I feel in a good place, actually. You know, I really do. I feel like this is the first manager since Bilic where I've connected with, you know, I'm Redknapp, that kind of time. There's not been many managers over the years that I've genuinely connected with. I mean, there's been a few that I've certainly not connected with, Allardyce being one. I mean, Pellegrini, Lopetegui especially, I did not really like at all in terms of being a manager. I just didn't think he fit the club at all. But Graham Potter, there's just something there about him. I really like the guy. He comes across so well and so confident, but not cocky. You know, he's a really well-grounded guy, and I'm really delighted with the appointment. Actually, I've got to be honest, and it's given me a real sense of belief going forward. I'm not looking forward. I'm not thinking short term as well. You know, I really feel like long term. It feels like we've got some. We're in a safe pair of hands here with Potter, and I'm just really impressed. His impact's been great. So long may it continue, and I feel like this is a big game, a big opportunity to do so, especially with fixtures coming up after this. This is a big game, and if we can get another 3 points on the board, it'd be absolutely massive, and it'd be huge for Graham Potter, of course. And yeah, really interesting. Onto the team. We're depleted with injuries. We've got a real lot of injury issues. We know obviously Mikel Antonio's out, Fulkrug's out, Jarrod Bowen's out. Crescencio Somerville, though, not sure. It feels like this is going to be possibly a little bit too soon for him. But in terms of the team preview, I'm going to come to him. I'm going to assume he's going to be available. I'm hoping Potter's playing a little bit of a game there because he kind of suggested, not sure. We're going to wait and see. I really hope he can make it because I feel like that would be a huge boost for us. We kind of lacked that little bit of pace, didn't we, against Fulham? So it'd be great to have him back. So I really hope that is the case, that he is going to be back. But it's difficult to say. It sounds to me like it's going to be a very late fitness test for him. And let's just hope he passes it. I want to make a mention as Mavropanos. I've given him a fair bit of stick over the months on here, whatever, how long he's been at the club. And I think it's been justified. I feel like he's got mistakes in him, Mavropanos. But I've got to be honest, I actually thought he played pretty well against Fulham. I felt like he put in a solid performance actually, and I was actually quite pleased with him. And it's good to see that really. If he can just eliminate those bloody errors that he makes, he always makes one or two errors in a game, and they're always very big errors. You know what I mean? Always seem to be leading to a potential goal. And if he can just iron that bit out of his game, and I really hope Potter can work with him on that, he could prove to be a really good defender for West Ham. It's just the fact that because he's got those mistakes in him, you're always feeling a little bit anxious when he's out on the pitch. But fair play to him against Fulham. I thought he stepped in, he did a good job, and it wasn't the 10 out of 10 performance, but it was a decent performance for him. So I think that's good. And I actually thought he was better than Kilman. I thought he struggled a fair bit actually in that game. So I hope that hopefully that's a bit of a one-off. Before I go to the team as well, I've got to mention Paqueta. You know, it feels like he's born again, doesn't it, under Potter? He seems like his towels up, he looks happy. There was a clip at the end of the game where Potter came over to him to give him a hug. He was chatting with him and laughing. Potter's pushing him around, and I thought, oh, it's just great to see it. You know, it's like great to see this guy actually enjoying his life. He's been through a real crap time, obviously, with this whole betting stuff. So feels like we've got our Paqueta back now, and let's just hope this continues to the end of the season because he's such a vital player. Right, let's get into the team. Let's get into the team and give the previews. I wanted to give me your team and give me your preview of the game, and also let me know what you think of mine. If you think I've got it wrong, I got a bit of stick the last time about the defenders. I think we weren't very happy with the fact that I put Scholes in on a back three. I kind of understand what you're saying, but I actually thought Scholes has actually got the ability to do so. I've been so impressed with him, Scholes, of his positioning, the way he conducts himself, his pace, and everything, how he sort of carries himself on the pitch. I think he looks a player that can cope with that role, but I understand what people are saying. You know, he's young and it's a lot to ask. But what I'm going to do for this week in terms of the team, I'm going to basically mirror the same formation that Potter played against Fulham and go with that. And it's kind of very similar actually to what he played in this game. But this is what I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with Lucas Fabianski in goal. I thought the criticism of him for the goals is harsh. I don't think really it was his fault, to be honest, either goal. They're very difficult, those crosses. When a ball's coming across and a player's coming to meet it, as a goalkeeper, it's very difficult because you can't really commit to one or the other. If he goes one way, the player connects and go, what are you doing? And if vice versa. So he's kind of rooted and waiting to see a reaction. So he's waiting for the player to have a knock on, and the player basically both on two occasions for their goals they didn't get a touch on it. So it just completely, he's waiting for something and it's just gone beyond him. So they are difficult. I do feel for him a little bit. But I actually think he's been great for us this season. I think for his age, of how long he's been at this club and the fact he was dropped to second choice and now he's come back as first, I think Fabianski has really stepped up this season and once again proven to be such a reliable player at West Ham, as someone that we're really lucky to have, actually. So I'm really, really pleased for him. So yeah, Fabianski in goal. I'm going for Aaron Wan-Bissaka at right back, of course. I mean, an outstanding performance again from him against Fulham. What a player, what a signing. A real cult hero at West Ham already, quite clearly. Just a brilliant signing for West Ham. I've been so impressed. So glad we signed him. I tell you, I know there's obviously that period of time where we were looking at Kyle Walker-Peters, weren't we, from Southampton. So I'm really pleased we've gone for Wan-Bissaka because he just fits in well at West Ham. He's got the right attributes, the right attitude. He works so bloody hard, and I'm really pleased for him. So yeah, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, I'm having Mavropanos and Kilman as my centre-back pairing. Todibo, I assume, is not going to be available. Of course, great to see him back though in England, wasn't it? So he was on the bench amongst the players against Fulham, so that was really good to see. And I'm going to have Emerson at left back. I actually thought we played all right, but one of his better performances this season. So again, I hope he's starting to come out of that bad patch. I'm starting to feel a lot of these players actually were in a bad spell because of Lopetegui. And again, that sounds like a bit harsh on him, but these players weren't performing well under him. It just feels like these players now can sort of breathe a bit of sigh of relief, understand their instructions, and they're getting on with it. And I feel like Emerson might be one of those. So, yeah, really pleased for him. So midfield, I'm going to go with Alvarez and Souček. I've made a little bit of a change. I'm not going to put Rodriguez in there. I'm not sure what Potter will do. I just don't think Rodriguez played too badly. I think he actually worked quite well, those two. But I'm going to go with Alvarez and Souček. And the reason being, because I've made a change going forward. I'm going to have Mohamed Kudus on the right. I'm going to put Somerville out in there, assuming he's available. Carlos Soler in the middle, and then Paqueta playing that kind of false nine role where he can just get involved every area of the pitch. Really, I want him to give him a bit of freedom and just be instrumental in our sort of attacking play. Yeah, that's what I'm going with. I think that'd be my choice for a team. Of course, if Somerville isn't available, I think I'll then pull in Rodriguez, put him next to Souček, and then I'd put Soler again out on the left because I actually thought he played quite well in that position under Potter. I thought he did really well in that position. So that's what I would go with. I'd go with the same if some from last game, if Somerville's not available. If Somerville's available, put him in, and then I'll be dropping Rodriguez and putting Souček alongside Alvarez. This is a tough one to call. Very tough game. I'm not brimming with confidence in terms of, oh my God, we're going to win. I think it's going to be a hard game, but at home, obviously we've got this bit of a bounce about us at the moment. I've just got a sneaky feeling we might do this. I've got a feeling it's going to be tight. It's going to be a hard game, but I'm going to go for West Ham win. Going with my heart, I'm going to say West Ham 2, Crystal Palace 1. Be interested to know what your scores are. Let us know. And yeah, look, this is a big game. Big game. Really hope we can deliver on this, because if we can get another 3 points in this, I think if West Ham win this game, I think we're back as an outsider for Europe. I feel like we're in the race again. I feel like we're in the mix for European football, but we've got to win this game because we've got some tougher fixtures coming up. So this is one we need to win. But it's not going to be bloody easy, especially with Palace's form. But let's wait and see how we get on. So yeah, interesting game, and looking forward to it. Until then, come on your irons.